So first of all, I'm back in the commentary booth after that Jimmy James live streamed the league for 2 or 3 races in a row. He live streamed Hungary for the first time. Then he also live streamed Belgium. So yeah, that's 2 races that he live streamed, in which I also took part as well. Then right before the race, Owen told me that Jimmy James wanted to be racing again, so he asked me to be back in the commentary booth. And I will apologize in advance because you can already see the car lagging. My connection really has been having a few issues lately, and I will need to fix it. So I will do the best I can, hoping that the cars won't lag too much in the race. So Scaife is the first driver to leave the garage in his Alpha Tauri, so he will be the first driver to start a qualifying lap. So let's stay focused on Scaife because he is at Parabolica. So he will be starting his qualifying lap in a few seconds. There is a yellow flag in sector 3. A few drivers are on track already. Matt also is on his out lap on soft tires, but let's stay focused on Scaife because he already has started his qualifying lap. He kind of went too wide on the exit at turn 2. We don't have a DRS on the second straight. Back in 2012 there used to be DRS in qualifying, unlimited DRS in qualifying, so you could have DRS open throughout the whole length of the lap at Monza, which isn't the case in 2020. Now he can open the DRS again. Before Ascari, the Variante Ascari, he went too wide again. I'm not sure whether that means that his lap will be invalidated, because the game usually deletes your lap time as soon as you exceed the track limits. But let's see, because it doesn't look like Scaife is slowing down. So yes, it's a valid lap time, and of course Scaife takes the lead because he was the first driver to complete a lap, but Liverpool was right behind of him and improved his lap. Now we have Matt already on track, and Alpmut K has joined the session. Alpmut has joined the session. I was about to say that Alpmut K wasn't in the session, and he said before qualifying that he might join mid-session, but he has joined very soon in the session. So he probably won't be affected by this late entry. But Matt is about to complete his qualifying lap. Let's see what lap time he is going to get. He cuts the line on the inside to use as less track as possible, and Matt takes the lead. Betters Liverpool's lap time, and Matt at the moment takes the lead. Also Alpmut K is about to finish his lap. I wasn't aware of that, but Alpmut K is about to finish his lap. Let's see how good this is. And Alpmut K lately has been very dominating in qualifying. Matt really has been struggling a lot in qualifying lately, because Alpmut K has been on pole since Austria. He has been on pole for 5 times in a row, not counting Monza. So Alpmut K, this might be his 6th pole position in a row. So Alpmut K really has been fast in qualifying lately, and Matt has already left the garage. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Matt hasn't managed to improve Alpamut K's lap time. Before, when Alpamut K set that lap time, Matt immediately left the garage again. Now he is very slow in the pit lane exit. He's probably waiting for the Williams driver to... Yes, he was waiting for the Williams driver to drive past him. So that was a very fair behavior from Matt. He didn't want to interfere. So I was saying that Matt immediately left the garage when Alpamut K set that lap time, because he was probably watching Alpamut K, but he didn't manage to improve that lap time. And I think that Alpamut K is on track as well. I think that Matt won't have another chance because there is not much time left. There isn't much time left, only 1 minute and 20 seconds. Alpamut K's lap time, also you can see that on the right side of the screen, it's 1:40 seconds, so Alpamut K probably isn't on a qualifying lap. He might be able to start another one, but this won't be a quali lap time because it's a very slow, it's a very high lap time. But Matt has started his qualifying lap time. He won't have another chance because there is only 40 seconds left, so he needs not to fuck this up, and he does. Matt spins, Matt even spins, so Matt won't be on pole position. He won't have another chance. Session is over for him. Session is over for Matt. So Orb King also retires from the session. Session is over for Matt. So Alpamut K is back, is again on pole position. He's been on pole position since Austria. So that's 6 poles in a row. Alpamut K really has been devastating in qualifying lately, like I was saying before. Matt needed to stay calm under pressure, to keep his composure under pressure, but he didn't. Alpamut K probably set a very good lap time, so that made Matt push harder than he could. We'll see in the race if Matt just made a mistake or he was not on the same level as Alpamut K. We'll see what happens when both will be able to show their pace, and Alpamut K even goes faster than that. Not sure why Matt didn't drive in. He just used his tires for another lap. Alpamut K even goes faster than his previous lap time. So he really has been devastating in this qualifying session. It's about 0.5, half a second quicker than Matt. So very, very strong display from Alpamut K. So here we are for the formation lap. Looks like it's going to be a very cloudy race. Of course, I'm not racing, so I can't see what the weather will be like. There might be a chance of rain because it looks very, very cloudy. So Let's see what is going to happen, because rain might spice things up. Brycey retired from the formation lap. I think the formation lap should be made more realistic, like serious damage, real simulation damage during the formation lap. If you crash, you can retire from the race, because it's kind of annoying to see 5 cars completing the formation lap while everyone else just waits on the grid. It would add to the realism. It would make it more realistic. Sorry. So Orb King also decided to qualify on soft tires. I didn't pay much attention to him during qualifying, but he also decided to start on soft tires. Most of the time Orb King likes to play with different strategies, especially when he feels that there are quicker drivers, so he prefers to play with strategies instead. And he still is in the title fight. He's been really consistent, but we are almost ready for the start. We only need to wait for the 2 Ferrari drivers behind in 11th and 12th position. Then Jimmy James at the very back of the grid. He retired. He was the first driver to retire in qualifying. Jimmy James now behind the two Ferrari drivers. So looks like everything is ready for the start. Yes, you can hear the noise of the lights coming on. It's lights out and away we go. Looks like Alpumutke really had a terrible start. Matt is already in the lead. Yes, Matt already takes the lead. Matt named the leading, and Alpumutke was almost down in 4th place, but at the very last moment he managed to keep 2nd place, right behind of Matt. Lucas L.A. and Chris Agerbo nearly overtook Alpumutke as well, but Alpumutke managed to keep 2nd place at the braking zone. Now Lucas and Chris Agerbo are right behind of Alpumutke. Then we have Orb King, Litzepol, Hughes moves, Spike, Jimmy James gains a lot of positions at the start. He was dead last, and Sozon Pat in 10th place. Alpumutke all over the back of Matt. Now we'll see how fast Alpumutke is after that. He really had a bad start, and also Orb King didn't lose or gain any position. He was 5th and stayed 5th, so he had a pretty average start. I think that no one has had any kind of issues lately. Alpumutke is already attacking Matt. Alpumutke all over the back of Matt. Looks like he is quicker at the moment, but DRS still hasn't been enabled, so Alpumutke had to overtake in old style, and he didn't manage to complete the move, even though he was very close at the beginning of the straight. There was no safety car at the beginning like in most races, but I think probably Brycey had some kind of issues because he already has pitted. Now he decided to switch to medium tires, and he already has a 10-second time penalty for cutting the corner like that. He probably was on cold tires right after the pit stop, so he made that mistake. Then we have Sozon Pat in 11th place. After that he managed, after that he was 10th on the first lap. There is also another fight going on. It was Hughes moves and Jimmy James. Jimmy James completed the overtake, or he maybe took his place back again. Sozenpat also had front wing damage. Sozenpat had front wing damage, I think, and he probably really lost a lot of time on the second lap because he had to drive for a long distance with a broken front wing, and indeed Brycey goes up in 12th position. Sozenpat now is dead last, and he will be rejoining very far from the group. You can see that on the map. Sozenpat really is far from the rest of the group. He is far from Brycey, who is also very far from the rest of the group. We have like 3 races. We have the first group, then we have Brycey in no man's land, and we also have Sozenpat very far from Brycey. At the moment it looks like Alpmut K is faster than Matt. It looks like we might have a fight here, because Alpmut K really is close to Matt, but I'm not sure whether he already used DRS. I didn't notice. I think he did. He probably did, maybe, because it was the 3rd lap and Brycey retires from the session. If Alpmut K didn't use the DRS before, he will surely be able to use it on the next straight. And there is a safety car deployed. The safety car deployed caused by Brycey's retirement. So Alpmut K probably would have used DRS had Brycey not retired and caused a safety car. So this probably will help Matt, because Matt was really under pressure from Alpmut K. I think that Alpmut K was going to use DRS in a very few seconds, but now that there is a safety car, overtakings can't be made, and indeed everyone is deciding to pit. Matt is back to the pits. Alpmut K right behind is also back to the pits. Alpmut K, let's see if there is any change of the order because of all the traffic. And Matt decided to switch to hard tires. Alpmut K is also on hard tires. I think everyone is on hard tires. I'm not sure why. Maybe they know that these tires can get to the end, and of course, because I'm not racing, I can't know what the weather is like, and I can't know how much the tires, how long the tires last. So they probably have information. Spike is, I think, the only driver not to choose hard tires. Everyone else is on hard tires. And we have Scaife in the lead, because Scaife didn't pit, so Spike on medium tires and Scaife on old soft tires. Safety car back in this lap, and I'm not sure what Scaife's strategy is, because he is in the lead, but he really have a difficult time. Lucas LA retired. You saw his wrecked car on the straight. I'm not sure how he ended up there. You could see him again after the first corner. I'm not sure how it happened, because he crashed on the straight and he retired after a very good qualifying. So one of the main drivers is out of the race, and the Scaife at the moment is holding on his lead. is keeping his lead, but I'm not sure what his strategy is, because he is on very old tires, so that means that he will be much slower than the drivers behind, even though the drivers behind are on hard tires, but they are on very new tires. So I think Scaife will really have a difficult time, and indeed Matt is already attacking Scaife. Scaife really was close to Matt at Parabolica, but he didn't cause any issues. Now Alpmut K also wants to get rid of Scaife as soon as possible, because he wants to stay close to Matt. Scaife tries to fight back. He was also close to Alpmut K in that corner, but Alpmut K managed to complete the overtaking, and now Cla-ita-ACC all over Scaife. Scaife really is struggling, like I predicted. And in the meanwhile, we have a few drivers. Cla-ita-ACC completes the overtake as well. So Matt, Alpmut K, Cla-ita-ACC, then Scaife back in 4th place, and is going to lose many other places, many other positions, because everyone else is faster than him, so he's going to lose a lot of positions. I think that Jimmy James will overtake him as well before the lap ends. Jimmy James now can't use DRS, but he has much more speed, so he also overtakes Scaife. Let's see if Scaife makes a mistake. So DRS has been enabled, and Jimmy James also completed the overtake without DRS. So Scaife lost 4 places on 1 lap, and now Orb King will be the next driver to overtake Scaife, probably. He also seems to have much more speed. He already is getting close to Scaife. Then we have the 2 Ferrari drivers. Like everyone, they are on hard tires as well. Then we have Sozenpat on medium tires. And I was saying we already have a few drivers with time penalties. We have a Scaife Bake on with a time penalty. We have a Hughes Moose with a time penalty. And then we have the other Ferrari driver with a time penalty, Crossidale, and then also Sozenpat in last place with a time penalty. It kind of depends on how you choose to race. It's very easy to exceed the track limits on this game, so maybe the time you lose with a time penalty is even less than the time you lose not trying to push as hard as you can. And Alpmut K in the meanwhile tried to attack Matt. It's been a few laps, and Matt is really having a hard time keeping Alpmut K behind, but he is being successful in his defense. He's defending pretty well, and the Alpmut K still hasn't been able to get past. I'm not sure how long Matt can resist, because it's very hard to defend on this track when you're slower than the car behind, because the whole track is a straight, so it's very difficult to keep a car behind when you're slower, and there is also 2 powerful DRS zones. Sozenpat retires from the session. Yellow flag. I'm not sure whether this is going to cause another safety car. You saw Sozenpat on the gravel in his racing point. I'm not sure this will cause another safety car. Liverpool also has a time penalty, and I was saying before, it also depends on how you choose to race, because the time you lose with a time penalty might not be the same, might be even less than the time you lose if you don't try to push as hard as you can. And we have Chris Agerbo and Jamie James back to the pits. They were all over Matt and Alpmut K, so two of the main drivers are back to the pits. I'm not sure why. One of the two had damage, so maybe they both had damage. Now it's the race is basically between Matt and Alpmut K, because they are in the middle of the group, at the very end of the group. Matt and Alpmut K. Alpmut K has been close to Matt the whole race, but he just can't. No, this is lag. Matt didn't make any mistake. This is the lag that I was talking about right before starting the comms. Alpmut K has been close to Matt the whole race, but he just can't find a way to get past. And I think it also depends on the setup they have. Maybe Alpmut K has more downforce than Matt. Now there is another attempt, and Alpmut K got damage. Alpmut K got damage. He has damaged his front wing, and I think this might be the moment that decides the outcome of the race, because Alpmut K, I think, is going to struggle a lot without a proper front wing. We have Scaife off track. If I'm not mistaken, Scaife had the damaged front wing as well, and now Alpmut K is probably going to struggle a lot because he damaged his front wing while trying to overtake Matt. Matt also has a time penalty. So Alpmut K needs to stay within 3 seconds of Matt. But at the same time, even though Alpmut K didn't really lose much time on this lap, I think that Alpmut K might be struggling a lot with that front wing damage, especially on a track like Monza. But at the moment, Alpmut K is still close to Matt. I'm not sure how Alpmut K can stay close to Matt with a damaged front wing. Maybe also Matt is struggling. Maybe Matt is struggling too, because Alpmut K is still all over the back of Matt, even though Matt doesn't have any damage, while Alpmut K has a damaged front wing. But Matt is slightly quicker in the corners. Now Alpmut K can benefit from DRS. Spiker retires from the session. It looks like Alpmut K is kind of struggling in the corners with less downforce, and indeed Matt pulls away a little. Yellow flag in sector 3. Safety car again, and I think this will help Alpmut K a lot, because he had a broken front wing, and Matt was starting to pull away. Maybe Matt didn't drive a perfect lap after that Alpmut K damaged his front wing, and that's why he didn't pull away immediately, but he was starting to pull away. Most drivers are back to the pits. Alpmut K is behind Orbeking. Because probably Alpmut K lost time changing his front wing. So Matt is in the lead and Orbeking is in second place. Orbeking is in second place. There is not many laps left, only 5 laps left. So there is going to be very few laps of proper racing left, because usually the safety car stays on track for a couple of laps, if not 3 laps. So there isn't going to be much time left. There isn't going to be much time left, but it's also true that Alpmut K doesn't have a time penalty, while Matt has a time penalty. I was forgetting that. 3 laps left. Maybe the safety car will drive back to the pits in this lap, and indeed you can see the lights of the safety car are off, so the safety car will be driving back to the pit lane in this lap. Matt is controlling the pace of the group, and I was saying before that Matt has a time penalty. Orbeking also has a time penalty, so Orbeking needs to overtake Matt on track if he wants to win the race, but he already has lost his second place to Alpmut K at Parabolica, which is pretty weird, because Orbeking probably made a mistake, and now Orbeking is being attacked by Little Paul. Chris Agerbo makes a mistake, or was involved in some collision, and Chris Agerbo leaves the session. He was right in the wall. He was against the wall at turn 1. And I was saying, now Alpmut K is up again in second place. Orbeking might have changed the result of the race, but he lost his second place even before the straight. He probably made some kind of mistake, and now Alpmut K is all over the back of Matt again, and Matt has a time penalty while Alpmut K doesn't. So Alpmut K, even though Matt is physically in the lead, Alpmut K is the real leader of the race at the moment. So all that Alpmut K needs to do is stay close to Matt. Alpmut K only needs to stay close to Matt. 2 laps left. I'm not sure how many warnings Alpmut K has received so far. He probably needs to pay a lot of attention, because if he gets another warning or 2, he might get a penalty, and that will hand the win to Matt. I'm not sure how many warnings Alpmut K has, and Alpmut K really is trying. You see how much, how careful he is with his driving. He isn't using every inch of the track, because I'm pretty sure that this is his plan. You saw his exit out of that corner again. He isn't using every inch of the track. He is very slow, and he is losing time to Matt. He is now 1 second and 5 tenths away from Matt. Matt sets fastest lap. He needs to find another second and 4 or 3 tenths. Of course, the distance, the gap, is being updated in real time. Alpmut K was almost 2 seconds off from Matt after the main straight, and now Alpmut K needs to be very careful with his driving, but he also needs to be fast enough to stay close to Matt. Matt knows that he is going to lose the race. Alpmut K nearly made a decisive mistake out of Lesmo, but he managed to keep his car under control. More than 2 seconds separating Matt and Alpmut K, but it isn't enough for Matt. Alpmut K really had to be careful with his driving. He probably had a warning or two, but Matt wins the race physically, but the real winner of the race is Alpmut K, and Alpmut K extends his lead in the championship. He was already leading the championship by 5 points. Alpmut K won without the fastest lap, which belongs to Matt. Matt set the fastest lap, so Matt got 19 points instead of 18 points, and it's really starting to be a pattern, because it's probably the 3rd time that Matt loses the race in this way with a time penalty.